In 1924, Clara Belle Williams, her husband, and their 3 children moved to Las Cruces, New Mexico, where they homesteaded 640 acres of land. The Homestead Act gave away free land. All you had to do was live on it and develop it for at least 5 years, or purchase it within 6 months of claiming it. I don't know which option they chose, but 600 acres is a lot of land. But let me back up and give you a little history of the new place they called home. In 1896, a Morehouse-educated black man named Francis Boyer, along with 2 of his students, walked from Pelham, Georgia, all the way to New Mexico. The KKK had been harassing Francis, so his father, who'd been in New Mexico while serving in the Mexican-American War, advised Francis to move out west, so he did. In 1903, he got some land and established Blackdom. Just like it sounds, it was meant to be a self-sustaining black kingdom. They farmed the land, installed a water system, built homes, a church, a school. Then they started advertising for black folk to move there. They even put an ad in the Chicago Defender, and about 300 black people ended up moving there. It was obviously successful because the KKK paid a 12-year-old boy to burn his house down. Then, around 1920, a drought ran them out of town. So Blackdom's residents scattered to different parts of New Mexico to cities like Las Cruces, where Clara Belle and her family moved to in 1924. The year after they got there, New Mexico gave local governments the option to segregate schools. Schools in Texas, Georgia, Louisiana, and the Carolinas had been segregated. But it was new to New Mexico. I'm assuming too many black folk were moving into the state and white folk weren't feeling it. Clara taught at Lincoln High School, which black folks scrambled to open in a Baptist church after segregation was legalized. In 1928, she decided to go back to school and enrolled at New Mexico State University. Not many women were going to college then, let alone black women. And a 43-year-old black woman? A 43-year-old black woman whose youngest child was only 5? That was unheard of. And it says a lot about her determination. It also says a lot about her husband, because many black women were divorcing their men during this time for getting in the way of their dreams. Zora Neale Hurston and Ida B. Wells being examples. New Mexico State University is where racist professors wouldn't let her in class and made her stand in the hallway to take notes. And it took her 9 years to do it, but in 1937, at the age of 51, she became the first black graduate of New Mexico State University. And after graduating, she taught at the segregated Booker T. Washington in Las Cruces for 27 years. In 1961, New Mexico State University named a street after her. 2 years later, according to her obituary in the Chicago Tribune, she invested her life savings in a 22-room medical center on East Marquette Road, to which her 3 sons brought their respective specialties of medicine. And her husband passed away in 1946, so she really didn't have a reason to stay in New Mexico. She moved to Chicago and worked in her son's medical office as the receptionist. In 1976, at 91 years old, she retired. In 1977, the National Education Association named her to its Teaching Hall of Fame. In 1980, New Mexico State University awarded her an honorary doctorate and an apology for how she had been treated. In 1994, she joined the Ancestors, but the earthly blessings kept on. In 2005, New Mexico State celebrated its first Clara Belle Williams Day on February 13th. They named the building the English department is in after her and started a scholarship in her name and memory.